But if at all they were being taught in our own language, they would have done better. So I'm appealing to the committee also to consider that so that they'll be able to put it a part of the recommendation so that we'll also shift from being taught only in the foreign language, but we also teach our own children in our own languages so that they'll be able to master what they have been taught. On that note, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I beg to take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Jokadu. I now invite the Honorable Member for Serekunda.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And thank you very much to the committee for doing an outreach to these schools in order to understand the operations of these schools. I would like to just add my voice on recommendation 9, that the government should place a ban and sanction on car stoning by students or around school premises. So I would like this one to be broadened to everyone, because stoning has claimed so many lives. So the government should should totally ban stoning of vehicles in communities. Another thing I would like the committee to factor is the lack of security in our schools, because I have seen a recommendation that computer labs to be established in the schools, but most of the schools in the greater Banjul area are subjected to burglary and theft, like the Serekunda Primary School. And another member has also raised the issue of our history to be taught in the schools. Yes, it is very important to teach our students our history. For example, the road to self-independence, the road to self-determination and independence, and our contribution as a country to the Second World War. These are very important histories that we need to teach our students. So on that note, Honorable Speaker, I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Serekunda. I now invite the Honorable Member for Basse.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have to thank the committee through their chairperson for presenting this report and taking their time visiting all the schools and these GSM companies so that they can have first-hand information before us. First, I have to align myself with their general recommendation on number 2 and number 9. Number 2 is the introduction of making a compulsory of these 3 areas, that is the social and environmental studies, history of the Gambia, which is very key, and also agriculture. It's important for our young ones to start learning agriculture at the tender age, because it's important so that they can know what agriculture is and what's the importance of agriculture. From there, they can even looking at, when growing, they can even they can specialize on agriculture. Because here, students start learning agriculture at the higher level. I'm also trying to propose the committee to look at our national languages. We don't call them local languages now, but national languages, because it's important for us to look at them. How do we introduce them? I know other schools started, but I think they should be compulsory nowadays in schools. Honorable Speaker, on number 9, this one I have to really recommend the committee coming up with this recommendation. 2-3 years ago, I was almost a victim of this. That is Wise Stadium Johnson. It was just by the help of God, that's why I escaped. And that fatal accident was very serious, because 2 students lost their life at that accident. So coming up with this recommendation, I think is more than welcoming. And I know the the minister and government will look into it and make sure it is being considered. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Basse. I now invite the Honorable Member for Central Badibu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I would also want to thank my colleagues for making this successful outreach, and the report is a very good report. Honorable Speaker, it's high time our curriculum be revisited. Our colonial curriculum that has been with us for years will not pay dividend, will not help us if we want to transform as a nation. So we should try and look at subjects that can create employment, self-employment for our people. We cannot just go and look at history. When we say history, it all begins with the coming of Alviso Kadamosto into the Gambia. Our history is beyond that. We need to start writing our own history. We need to teach our kids in the school with our own history. It's not the history that has been contaminated or polluted, or fixed by people outside, and they hand it over to you, you pass it to the kids, they don't understand what is happening. If you want to talk about the history of the empires, they limit themselves to the 3 empires that we know in the Western Sudan. It's beyond that. So history is there to tell us where we are going. We need to know where we come from. Honorable Speaker, local language. The committee, I don't know whether it was not part of your mandate, but I really want to see, how local languages, how they were taught in the school. What was the progress? And why are we not having local language? Because I could remember when I was a teacher, local language was pioneered in some of the schools. They were taught in some of the schools. What happened to it? Why is it that that project is no more happening? And when it was happening, what was the assessment? The House needs to be informed about that. Because for us to be able to understand other people's language and their culture, we first need to understand our own language and our own culture. Honorable Speaker, welfare of the teachers and school administrators. This thing needs to be factored in. We cannot have an effective teaching and learning environment when our teachers and school administrators are not motivated, they are not supported. Honorable Speaker, looking at the educational system in the Gambia from higher school to tertiary, we don't have infrastructure problem now. I think the infrastructure problem has been seriously addressed by the last government and the current government. What we need now is we need to work on teaching and learning materials. We need to focus more in sciences. Honorable Speaker, if you cross from Bara to Makati, there is no senior secondary school that you will have a full lab, science lab, that children can do science without coming to Gambia High School or Nusrat Senior Secondary School. These high schools need to be decentralized and supported with equipment. You don't expect a child from
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Central Badibu. Honorable members, may I now call upon the mover of the motion to respond to issues and wind up the debate.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable members, for the feedback you've given the committee. If you look at it generally, it seems members actually are happy with the recommendations, but some of them we just need to be stronger in them. But above all, we need to get the ministries responsible, like MOPSI and MOGDI, to come over here and then respond to some of these things we have raised. And I would remind the table office to make that arrangement, either this session or next session, to ensure that MOPSI and MOGDI, which is the Minister of Digital Economy, to be back here, and Minister of Finance, to be able to discuss some of the issues the committee actually has highlighted. Now, the quality education, and I think members are quite right. You see, we need to get the fundamentals right in our school curriculum. And I think doing a review of the school curriculum, I think is the backbone for us to get right back on track. You see, for me, I don't believe in, you have somebody, we all agree that agriculture is the backbone of the economy. But then we can have somebody who has gone through the school system. Until you finish high school, then basic agriculture you don't understand, you cannot do. We are not serious about that. Here, I'm telling you, you give somebody go all the way through grade 12, you graduate. But basic agriculture, they cannot understand. If you give him a plant of, for example, groundnut or maize or something else, they cannot even differentiate that. But yesterday we say we want to make agriculture the backbone of the economy. That is not seriousness. So I think we have to go back to basics, ensure that every child that's in this country is taught the basics. And history, I think that one we cannot negotiate about that. We must teach our children about our history. They must understand where we came from as a country and then really where we need to get to. And I think history and the social and environmental sciences should be able to do that. And the other one from Nyanija is about the submarine cable. Yes, there's only one cable right now, which means if there's a cut on the cable, remember the cable comes from all the way from South Africa all the way to the Gambia along the coast. If there's a cut, we will be in serious difficulty because of the traffic. Most of the traffic cannot actually go. However, some companies actually use some other alternative through Senegal to route their traffic, but they cannot route the traffic, all of it. That's why sometimes you see a message from your company saying that there's a cable cut. Then the internet speed goes down because they use an alternate route, but that is very expensive and also cannot accommodate the entire traffic of the Gambia going outside the country. So and I think it's important that the Minister of Digital Economy to come back here to tell us exactly what they're doing to ensure that we have a second submarine cable or multiple submarine cables as seen in other countries. Then the issue on Woolly East. Yes, you talk about a loan, we need to check. Yes, the loan was meant for the National Broadband Network. This is loan that was ratified here, I think in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, right. But that was meant for the National Broadband Network. That's the lane of the fiber cables across the country. Nothing to do with the fiber, with the AC cable exactly here. This was very specific to run a fiber network, across the country, which actually they have done. But the issue the private sectors actually have, private companies, is for them to access that network. Because to do that, you have to go through Gamtel. And for Gamtel, it's not really responding enough for them to be able to do their work. Remember, this is a private company. They are there to satisfy their customers. They have SLAs, which is the service level agreements. So Gamtel must be more responsive to ensure that the other private company actually can connect to the national network without actually having any issues. Then the other area is about the Kiangwas. Yes, you are quite right. I think there's a need to support the madrasas more because they have a lot of challenges in terms of infrastructure, classrooms, but above all, to have qualified teachers to teach in the madrasas. It's very expensive. So if they don't have the funding to do that, there'll be an issue. So Sani Mentreng, I quite agree with you on to have strong bands, just like the member of Serekunda also suggested about this turning to, in fact, ensure that that's both the public and the private schools, to ensure the ministry takes it up themselves, to ensure that all the schools, they ban this stunning, also highlighted by the member for Basse. Now, the issue of national languages, highlighted by the member for Badibu, highlighted by the member for Jokadu, and also to a large extent by Woolly East, I think you are right, strongly right on track. However, that was not part of our the committee's work. But right now, the curriculum department actually have initiated to meet with the committee to discuss along those issues. So perhaps once we meet with them, then we'll be able to report more about the outcome of that thing. But I think that's something we really need to do. And above all, honorable members, I think at the level of the Continental Parliament, I made this proposal also before, that we need to get African languages in our schools. So that across the continent, we can have 1, 2, or 3 languages that we teach our children. So that by the time we have 10, 15 years, then we'll be able to have one language that is spoken in the entire continent. That is, for me, that is not negotiable. We need to look at the languages. We have Amharic, we have Swahili, we have the Fula. I'm sure Alma will like them about the Fulani people. But a big chunk of our population speak those languages. A big chunk of the population. So for me, I think at the level of the Continental Parliament, we need to do more on the national languages to ensure that at least we have 2 or 3 that we'll be able to nurture our population, so that in the next 10, 15 years we'll be able to get them running. Now, the member for Badibu also, yes, local language, and also talk about the curriculum. I quite agree with you, because if we are really serious about the development of this country, we must look at the curriculum that we teach in our schools. Those ones actually is the foundation. We talk about agriculture, but you go to some schools, they don't teach agriculture. You talk about technology, most of the schools do not have a lab. You talk about science, most of the schools don't actually have a science lab. But then how are we going to develop our education? So I would propose this, 100 members, if you agree, you allow the committee to work on resolutions to fix those gaps in terms of science labs across the country, and in terms of computer labs across the country, we can work on a resolution and come back to members, and if they agree, we can let the Minister of Basic Education to take a look, and then we can support their budget. But this budget must be meant only to build those labs where they are missing in the North Bank area. We must be very specific. So if you allow us, we can come back with a resolution. No. It's the entire country. It's the entire country. I was just responding to him. Yes, exactly. So I think we can do that. And above all, also the teaching and learning materials. Again, I can say enough about that because that's become really very, very important. So, Honorable Speaker, that's all I have, and I want to thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson of the committee. Let me thank you for brilliantly summarizing your report. And with all the summaries, we are all able to follow you and understand what you mean. And I also thank all other honorable members who participated and those who may not have the time to participate. Honorable members, may I now put the question? Be resolved that this Honorable Assembly do adopt the report of the National Assembly Select Committee on Education, Training and ICT visit to madrasas, private schools, GSM and ISP companies, and the Gambia submarine cable. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Once again, I thank you all. Clerk, may we proceed?
Laying of papers and reports. Report of the National Assembly Select Committee on Environment and Sustainable Development and NGOs Affairs Oversight Visits to forest, parks and borehole projects across the country, February 2024, by the Chairperson of the Select Committee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Clerk. Honorable members, may I now invite, I am made to understand that the Vice Chair of the Environment Committee will table the report. May I now invite the Honorable Vice Chairman of the Environment Committee to lay their report.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is the report of the Select Committee on Environment, Sustainable Development and NGO. And Ministry of Fisheries, Water Resources, and the National Assembly matters, respectively. Honorable Speaker, it is important to inform this August House, page 1, please. It is important to inform this August Assembly that this visit was meant to gather knowledge on the implementation of legal and policy frameworks on forestry and parks and wildlife management, the implementation of borehole projects by the Department of Water Resources as appropriated by the National Assembly, and the general operation and challenges of the relevant sectors. We have an increasing population that need amenities like food, water, and energy, but also flora and fauna to protect and preserve. Therefore, strong scrutiny of policies and programs by the sector are fundamentally important to ensure efficiency in providing basic needs of the citizenry, while at the same time protecting and preserving our heavily affected environment. Honorable Speaker, the committee is grateful to the Office of the Office of the Speaker and the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly in providing logistical and technical support to conduct this important task. I wish to express my appreciation to the honorable members of the committee secretariats, the press, and all stakeholders who contributed in one way or the other towards the preparation and production of this report. May I also take this opportunity to express my profound gratitude to the ministries, departments, and agencies for the support throughout the process, especially the Department of Forestry for assigning a senior official from the sector to accompany the committee to identify areas. On behalf of the Select Committee, Honorable Speaker, it is my pleasant privilege and honor to present to this Assembly the report of the committee on its findings. Honorable Speaker, I refer to page 4. You go to the executive summary. This report presents the findings of the committee on its mandate to carry out oversight to relevant sites. The first part of the report presents the findings from engagement with officials of Department of Forestry. It also reveals significant challenges, achievements, and opportunities for the sector. Key among the challenges highlighted includes insufficient personnel to effectively police the forest cover. This part also reveals tremendous effort made by certain communities throughout community forestry in preventing or preserving fauna and flora in the country. The second part also deals with findings at the Department of Parks and Wildlife and selected parks across the country. Honorable Speaker, the protection of animals and ecology and wildlife from being overexploited is significant to the preservation of the environment and promotion of ecotourism. This part therefore reflects the efforts made by this department to protect our wildlife and efforts to restore endangered species. It also highlighted the challenges faced by the sector, such as limited personnel, insufficient personnel, shortage of relevant equipment, and absence of wild species that are extinct, etc. Honorable Speaker, part 3, because this report is divided into 3 parts. So part 3 also deals with the water project, assigned to the Ministry of Forestry, Fisheries and Water Resources. This project came as a result of the $10 million appropriation by the National Assembly for the digging of boreholes across the country. These project sites were identified by the committee to gauge their progress. While there was notable progress in the drilling, some of them are far from completion, as water tanks were not installed. This part also revealed findings made in the boreholes that were outside the project to assess their status. Yeah, you may read up to the end of the executive summary. Yeah. Honorable Speaker, I want to go straight to our objective. That is on page 6. The objective of the tour was to track the implementation of the GLF-funded borehole project across the country, visit some forests across the country to assess the operation challenges and achievement of the Department of Forestry. 3, to visit parks across the country that are managed and protected by the Department of Parks and Wildlife to gather relevant data on their operation achievements and challenges. 4, to gather formal relevant information on other potential threats to the environment and how they impacted lives and livelihood of the people. You can see the methodology that we employ. So I want to go straight to the mandate of the committee. Honorable Speaker, the committee is established by Section 109 of subsection 1E of 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia and draws its mandate from the Standing Order 97 of the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, it is entrusted with the responsibility, the committee is entrusted with the responsibility of exercising functions of the National Assembly in considering, advising upon all matters connected with environment, sustainable development, and NGO affairs. Honorable Speaker, down there you can see the list of delegation that were part of the talk. Number 1 is myself, Honorable Esa Conte, Vice Chair of the committee.
I think we will read those ones.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Make a summary, please. Honorable members have seen the names and then they will noted it down.
Okay. Honorable Speaker, I just want to note there is an omission. One of the members' name is omitted from the list when he was part of the committee. That is part of the talk. That is Honorable Sabali. I want to apologize on behalf of the committee for that.
And that's Honorable
Famara Sabali.
Pardon?
Sabali.
Salah.
Sabali. Famara Sabali. Williams, yes. Z. Yes. Yes. Okay. Honorable Speaker, we go to page 10. General constraint on the forestry. Number 1, limited personnel to police the forests and support local communities for community forestry. Number 2, resource constraint such as mobility. Number 3, further constraint on other firefighting equipments such as limited fire engines. Number 4, limited capacity as there are a need to allocate funds to train staffs on the ground. You know, we saw a lot of capacity gap in the ground when we went to visit this forest. Honorable Speaker, number 5, mobility constraint, especially in North Bank region, for instance, has only one vehicle for the whole region. Number 6, bushfire, deforestation, and land encouragement for agricultural uses. Number 7, there is also a call for review of the Forestry Act, which looks, as it looks, because as we speak today, that particular act does not represent the facts on the ground. We go to page 11, general challenges on parks and wildlife. Number 1, encouragement on parks. Example, in Abuko, many football fields have encouraged the park, likewise other development. Number 2, limited personnel for effective management of the parks. Number 3, the parks such as Abuko have also been used as dumping site by the communities that surround it. Number 4, mobility constraint, it keeps coming. Number 5, bushfire and deforestation of parks. Number 5, destruction on the fauna and the flora, as most large and wild animals are now extinct. This has massively affected tourism in that area. Number 7, insufficient solar power electricity system to support the provision of water. And number 8, there is an insufficient equipment such as uniform and protective gears. I will refer you to page 13, General Observation. Honorable Speaker, the committee observed the following. Number 1, it was observed that most of the boreholes under the $10 million project has been drilled but incompleted as water tanks were not erected. Number 2, some of the boreholes, such as in Anglefuta in Bansang, were situated very closely to a residential area and less than 40 meters from a bathroom. This violates health recommendation in digging of borehole. Number 3, in general, the local residents complained that boreholes were dug at a place different from where they wanted it to be situated and served. Number 4, the local residents in general also stated that they were not aware of any survey conducted to know whether the elevation on the site. Number 5, in other sites such as Panchang, there is a need to renovate the solar power system to beef up the water supply. I will refer you to now to our conclusion, because we don't want to read the entire report for the sake of time. Honorable Speaker, our conclusion. Protecting the forest cover is very important to the agricultural production and productivity, health and development, boosting of tourism sector in the Gambia. Therefore, efforts must be made to ensure the much depleted forest is protected and the lost parks be restored. That said, Honorable Speaker, local participation in forestry through participatory or community forestry is a welcome opportunity in the restoration process. A good number of large and wild animals which have so far long had their sanctuary in the Gambia are extinct. As a result, more investment are needed to bring back those lost species to support domestic and international tourism and serve. Honorable Speaker, forestry and biodiversity management evolve in the area where technologies are utilized. For instance, surveillance drone and modern day equipment could be used to police the forest cover. This shall in return generate more revenue to the state. Now we go to our recommendation. Honorable Speaker, the following are the recommendations that the committee came up with. Number 1, that there should be stronger emphasis on community and joint participatory forestry management. Private investors should also be strongly encouraged to invest in private forestry. That the University of the Gambia should introduce courses at undergraduate and graduate level on forestry management, parks and wildlife management, and natural resources to build the capacity of foresters, the parks and wildlife managers. Recommendation number 3 is that an environmental and social impact assessment must be conducted prior to the issuance of license for hunting as game site. Honorable Speaker, that adequate resources must be mobilized to provide resources for forestry and parks and wildlife management. Such equipment must include surveillance drones, protective gears, and mobility. That wild and large animals such as lions, giraffes, elephants, etc., should be purchased for the Department of Parks and Wildlife. This shall generate substantial revenue to the sector. Number 6, that instead of giving forest areas for rice or other agricultural production, eroded lands should be revitalized for agricultural use. Number 7, that the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, Natural Resources should partner with Ministry of Interior and Defense to adequately police the forest. Recommendation number 8, that the Department of Physical Planning, local authorities, youth groups, and traditional leaders from areas surrounding the Abuko Nature Reserve must be engaged to curb the intrusion on the park and identify permanent settlements for the youth playing ground. Number 9, that all boreholes under the $10 million Dalasi project must be completed within 3 months. Honorable Speaker, recommendation number 3 states that further appropriation should be made to dig more boreholes, particularly to rural communities, in order to meet global targets. Number 11, that all boreholes must be situated in locations that are not posing any health risk to the benefit to its beneficiaries. Honorable Speaker, I want to conclude by acknowledging the Office of the Speaker. The committee would like to express its gratitude to the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk of the National Assembly for providing the personnel and logistics to ensure that the success of this oversight function is attained. The committee would also like to express gratitude to the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, Natural Resources, and the Department of Forestry and Parks and Wildlife under the ministry, and the warm reception accorded to the committee throughout the period. Moreover, Honorable Speaker, this appreciation is extended to the Department of Forestry for designating a senior official to guide the committee throughout the process. We would also like to extend this gratitude to the officials and employees at the crop banana plantation, traditional leaders at the borehole project sites, and other individuals who made the production of this report a success. We would also like to take this opportunity to thank the committee clerks, subject matter specialists, researcher, communication officer, and driver attached to this committee under the Office of the Clerk for providing a significant support to the honorable members throughout the period. With these simple remarks, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair of the committee, for ably tabling your report. Honorable members, any seconder? Honorable member for Central Badibu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion and I want to do my contribution quickly. Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank the committee for making this environmental journey to almost all the regions of the country. Honorable Speaker, the first court of call was in Kerewan. Yes, they met the authorities in Kerewan, but the information here is not enough for us to know what are some of the challenges that they face and what are the way forward for our parks in North Bank region. Honorable Speaker, our region, North Bank region, we are very vulnerable to desertification. Even by passing North Bank region, you know, we have few or limited trees in our environment. And both the parks and forestry, we are not happy with the management of our little trees there. You could see on my Facebook page, there is a lot of deforestation taking place in North Bank region. And it's all done by I don't know how I'm going to describe them, you know, who connive with some of our traditional leaders, either the alkalis or chiefs or the village elders. They connive and cut these endangered species and they make money out of it. We want the government or this National Assembly Committee to make a strong resolution on that. Honorable Speaker, coming to page 9 of the report, Nyanibere Forest. According to the report, at this site, the committee observed that 1 kilometer was degazetted to serve as a residential area. This was a crime. And where are the perpetrators? They need to be brought before the book. So the country has a law. This country, people cannot just put or do whatever they want to do. In the name of what? Honorable Speaker, coming to page 11, general challenges. The destruction of fauna and flora it cannot be underscored. Everywhere in the country you go, they are cutting down mahogany, wild mango, and other kind of endangered species. Who is responsible for this? Today, Jokadu, I found a truck. I don't know whether the truck cannot move elsewhere because of yesterday rain. Salifu, you have to take care, honorable member of Jokadu, you have to find out what is happening in Munyagen. Immediately you leave Munyagen coming down. On the right hand side, there are two trucks loaded with these endangered species. Where are they coming from? Are they from Senegal? Find out. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the other areas, in the recommendation, they were saying that we need to bring either lion or elephant. Let's go on that. Let's not bring them.
19. Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable, I have given you extra minutes. Your time went up, you are talking.
The hunters, our women at the garden, they are not safe. So we don't want bad hunting in our area from these French tourists, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Central Badibu. Honorable members, it has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the report of the National Assembly Select Committee on Environment and Sustainable Development and NGO Affairs oversight visit to forest parks and borehole projects across the country in February 2024. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Any honorable member may now, those who wish to take part may now do so as usual. Beginning with the honorable member for Ileasa.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I want to base my intervention on their visit to Badala Hotel, hunting site in Kerewan. Honorable Speaker, if you allow me, their visit was based on complained from the communities in that area. Honorable Speaker, the committee visited this site after a series of complaints from the community and civil society organizations that the site poses a threat to the population of birds. And that this is very true. I can attest to that. Kerewan, this hunting, this hotel, the hunting team, they used to go to our area, that's Nokunda. And it is true that the exercise of hunting they've conducted in that area, it is not nice at all. But because they do random hunting, they killed any bird, any species that they come across, and this is not nice at all. So we need to control our forest. And then wild animals also, they do random hunting. Any wild animal that they come across, they will kill it. So they did not consider whether male or female. And that this would be controlled. According to the committee observation, two, there are no mechanism to ascertain the ratio of male and female birds killed in this area. And this is true. This is exactly what they are doing. So I think there should be a control in order to retain these species in our forest. So I thank the mover, that's the co-care person, and the committee for coming up with this very good report. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Ilyasa. I now invite the Honorable Member for Jara Central.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity granted. Honorable Speaker, I definitely thank the mover of the motion, who is equally the Vice Chair of the Select Committee on Environment and Sustainable Development and NGOs affairs. Honorable Speaker, I will just take the Assembly to page 10 of the report. On page 10, Honorable Speaker, we've seen the general constraints under the forestry that the committee has came up with, and they are enumerated from 1 to 7. And if you may allow me, Honorable Speaker, I would like to delve in each of them one by one after the other. Honorable Speaker, the first one, limited personnel to police the forest and support local communities for community forestry. In that regard, Honorable Speaker, if we look at our sister country, and which is a neighbor, of course, that's Senegal, the way in which they are able to limit the depletion of their forests is simple, of the reason that they have or trained security guards. We call them forest guards. They train them, equip them, and resource them. I think here also, in our own motherland, the Gambia, we can do the same. If we want to reserve and preserve our forestry, it has to take us for that cost to train personnel to be in the forest, just to preserve the forest. But we cannot be here crying that our forest is facing depletion year in, year out, without making efforts in coping that situation. Honorable Speaker, resource constraints such as mobility, the same thing. Limited capacities as their need to allocate funds to train staffs. I think the bottom line, Honorable Speaker, is that let's train forest guards so that they...
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Jara Central. I now invite the Honorable Member for Janjambure.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you very much to the mover of the motion and the entire committee. Not to waste much time, I just want to observe on the recommendations that are made by the committee. And as such, there are just few things that I have not seen reflecting on the report, or on the recommendations actually. That is the gazetting of our forest parks. In your report, it has been captured that Nyanibera Forest Park, part of it was degazetted by the Gambia government, about 1 hectare of land area. And if we have to go by the Banjul Declaration by the First Republic, I want to believe that there is no justification where one should degazette a park that is being protected by the government. So I would have expected the committee on their recommendation to at least touch on that part and also advise the plenary on some of the parks that have been degazetted and why are they degazetted and what would be the way forward to avert from such situations. In your recommendation as well, you have talked about lack of capacity among forest officials. And to my surprise, in your report, I have not seen anything that have captured the only forest training center in the Gambia, which is situated at Kafuta. I would have expected your committee to visit that training center and, if need be, recommend to the government or to the plenary what you might think would be ideal. And my suggestion would have been, how do we formalize the only forest training center in the Gambia to be incorporated in the higher education curriculum or programs and activities, rather than just mentioning lack of capacity, when in reality we have a whole center that provides capacity training. Also, in your recommendation, you have talked about purchase of wildlife. I think, not even I think, but then at Kanilai, there used to be wildlife there, but then we neglected all those wildlife and they have all died without really doing the needful and also ensuring that those wildlife are being sent to other protected parks.
I now invite the Honorable Member for Upper Fuladu West.
Yes, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. First of all, I think I would definitely like to thank the committee for doing a good job after visiting forestry areas, parks and wildlife areas, and then also boreholes. The committee, they have done a good job. Like if you go to page 10, under the general recommendation, where you will see that on page 10, number 6, bushfires deforestation and land encroachment for agriculture. Well, these were some of the issues that were discovered during the tour, like a place like Abuko, whereby if you go to Abuko, that area has been encroached by the community, and then most of the parts is used as a field, and then that site also is used as a dumping site, especially the communities living around that area. They are using that area as a dumping site. The committee have done a good job, but I would not draw the curtain without expressing my disappointment and then my dismay to the Ministry of Fisheries and then Water Resources. And then simply because the reason why I am saying that these boreholes were dug 8 months ago, like the one that is in my own town, Bansang Angal Futa. These people are in a dire situation and they definitely need water, and water is a necessity. And then water is the most important thing in life. And this borehole was dug for the past 8 months, up to now. Since the day that borehole was dug, it has just remained like that. Nothing has been done. And last time when we have our committee meeting, this was a concern that I raised. And then the PS promised me that by end of May, that borehole will be completed, but up to now it's not completed. So I think appropriating money for the ministry to dig boreholes around the country is one thing, but the implementation is another thing. I think when we are laying our reports at the parliament here, I think it will be very, very important, like even if it is going to be one personnel from the Ministry of Environment for them to be here so that they can know what are some of the things that members are highlighting here. And I'm pretty much sure, I knew that of Bansang Angal Futa, and then there are communities, the same thing or the same problem that those communities might be facing. And these boreholes have been dug for the past 8 months. And then these funds were appropriated since 2023. So up to now, the boreholes are not completed. With these few remarks, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Upper Fuladu West. I now invite the Honorable Member for Nyamina Dankunku.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Let me also join my colleague to thank the committee. Honorable Speaker, 47 years ago, a declaration was made, that is the Banjul Declaration, which was declared in 1977. From 1977 to date is 47 years old. Honorable Speaker, I think the former President, Sadauda Kairaba Jawara, knew where the Gambia is facing with regard of its flora and fauna. Honorable Speaker, I think we must respect our laws when we enact laws. If we talk about deforestation, follow the South Bank, from Foni to Basse, all is heaps of charcoals. And there is a law that prohibits charcoal burning in this country. But why the law is not implemented? That is the problem. And you see, the issue of deforestation, the fastest thing is these people who are burning charcoals. Because to my dismay now, they are not even using the dead wood, but they are cutting the live one and processing charcoal. So meaning our forest, sooner or later, we will be a complete desert. Honorable Speaker, in my constituency, there was a forest park that was gazetted 50 years ago. But today, if you go to that forest park, farmers are cutting both sides, trying to get farms. And I believe the Ministry of Forestry and Environment should try and then visit these forest parks and then see what mitigation they can do within the communities down there. It is actually, if I go to my constituency, I see that forest park when I was young, you know, going with the cattle. You dare not to go, in fact, you alone. But today, the entire forest, the entire pieces of some trees are completely wiped out. So honestly, we need to be very serious when it comes to the issue of forest management in this country. If not, honestly, in the next 10, 15 years, this country will turn into desert.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Nyamina Dankunku. I now invite the Honorable Member for Woodley East.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Only three minutes. We'll find it difficult. Honorable Speaker, we thank the committee for a very good job. This report affects the whole country. I would have even thought that maybe the next time they go on, they should take each of these topics instead of mixing them. This time you go to the forest, next time you go to the water resources issues. Because if you mix them, you will do little on both sides and then you will not satisfy us. Honorable Speaker, I would not want to repeat what others have said, but when it comes to the general constraints on forestry, your number one is very important. The forest guards, we should find out even whether they are paid or they are just giving allowance. You know, if you are just giving them allowance, would they be as effective as if you are paying them? And are they mobile? Because my understanding is that they don't even have motorcycles. And these are the people, when people cut trees, the Central Baribu member was saying it, when they cut trees, these are the people they give something to. Somebody who's guarding the place, if they give something to that person, you think that person will take any action. So that's why they are not as effective as they should be. So we need to look at really to ensure that they are properly remunerated. At the same time, they are giving mobility. Honorable Speaker, on point 6, the challenges of parks and wildlife, you mentioned also that we have lost all the big animals, which is true. But we have some big animals, like the crocodile. We also have the hippo. But I want to say something about the hippo. I've been saying that here for a long time. Our people are producing rice near the rivers. And then the hippos are also in the river, and they also want to survive at the bank. So if there is no management, biodiversity management, between these two, wildlife and the people, then there is no, we cannot protect them. Because you cannot allow the wild animal to come and eat my produce, and I have the capacity to kill the wildlife. I will kill, because I want to protect my produce. So we need to look at this thing to be able to manage it in such a way that the wildlife can exist, but the people can also produce, and they can also survive on their produce. That balance must be looked at. Honorable Speaker, I want to also say that, we must also study giving license to tourists to come and kill birds. Birds are also very important in our biodiversity. To just kill them and kill them and kill them may not be safe for us. They have a
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Woodley East. I now invite the Honorable Member for Bikama North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think the report should do us good in terms of trying to give us specific position regarding the forest parks that have been visited. However, that is to say, I tend to observe that general observations were made regarding the parks that were visited and recommendations attached to that. But specifically, most of the time you talk about description, the physical descriptions of the parks, the mandate of the officers and their activities. the challenges and constraints faced by those parks were not specifically highlighted. And that should have been so that perfectly we can know which parks and how they are affected and what should be the remedial measures attached. I took note of the observation made by the earlier speakers, Honorable Member for Central Badibu, regarding the 1 kilometer degazetted park in Nyanibere Forest. If you read closely the content, it appears there was degazetting. The procedures that were taken were not conclusive to meet the legality to the extent of degazetting. And you did not inform us whether action was legal and what was the position of the committee with regard to that degazetting. I've been informed with that these issues of encroachment on the forest path is very rampant. And now to move and attempt legally when it is to extent illegal, it is trying to legitimize that encroachment. Sorry to say, it's not only about the Nyanibere Park. If you go to most of these parks, let me quote, for example, Birkama, I've been raising that. The Nyambai Parks, the Kabafre Parks, the Furia Parks, many parts of them are encroached. Sometimes by the forest officials themselves, sometimes by individuals, communities. It seems there is improper checks and control of the management of our forest parks. If we lose sight of that very soon, our parks are going to disappear. Honorable Speaker, regarding the Chiang West Park, I think Chiang West Park, about 19,051 kilometers, is the national park that we can look into and try to promote and protect. We were told earlier on that the we were told sorry to say, we were told earlier on by the president at one point when he was addressing that special attention was supposed to be given to Chiang West Park and wildlife should be provided. But up to now that is not done. You do not inform us well what is happening in Chiang West. There are activities, but we want to know what that park is doing in order for it to live as a national park.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Brikama North and Minority Leader. I now invite the Honorable Member for Sani Mentoring.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Again, I'll thank the committee, the SMS, and of course, all support staff in successfully giving us a report to be laid in this plenary today. Honorable Speaker, having gone through the report, Honorable Speaker, of course, the chairperson's forward, which the report contains the committee's procedures of scrutiny and oversight to facilitate an installation under the departments of the forestry, parks, and wildlife. And of course, Salaji, I've not seen Salaji part of the report. Of course, I know they cannot visit all the forests, but Salaji being one of the most important forests within the Greater Banjul area. They've not visited Salaji, and of course, there is encroachment in Salaji. Some areas, because initially when we were young, when you stand on the highway and look behind the forest, you cannot see any structure. But nowadays, people are entering, they are building structures within Salaji forest. So I would expect the committee to look into that, to visit Salaji forest, and then also to look into that to see what can be done, because since it is a gazetted forest. And also, Honorable Speaker, with regards to Bijilo Forest Park. Bijilo Forest Park, which was established in 1952, and then it was 56 supported 56 parks across the country. It supported 56 other parks across the country. So that tells you how huge that particular forest was. But now it is 51. Then initially it was 51.3 hectares, but encroachment on the property has resulted in its reduction to 44 hectares. The park generates revenue collected at $100 per head for Gambians and residents and $300 for non-Gambian residents. That shows that the forest or the park actually generates revenue for this country, for the Minister of Forest or for the citizens of this country as well. But then also more can be done in building restaurants like other countries might do. For example, Kenya. When you go to some national forests or some parks in Kenya, for example, there are forests, there is a place where restaurants and of course some entertainment areas can be built to generate more revenue for the country as well. Because like, for example, like when you have visitors in the country, some visitors in some countries, they will align it with the particular forest that visitors will be going there. For example, with there was a point in time when the parliament went there and we went there, we were well entertained and
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Sani Mentreng. And I invite the Honorable Member for Tumanna.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I think I will join my colleagues to thank the committee for the wonderful job they have done. I think they have done justice to the task given to them. Honorable Speaker, going straight to the recommendations of the committee, they've mentioned very important issues there. That is promotion of private sectors. Private sectors should also be strongly encouraged to invest in the private forestry. I think this is very, very important. And I think with these things, they will help the government and the country to, of course, be able to generate whatever we need to have from our forests. Honorable Speaker, introduction of courses at UTG related to forests. I think that also is very, very important. We need to have opportunity to learn anything related to our forests in the University of the Gambia or any other university in the country. I think it is very, very important. MOHAS together with the Ministry of Environment would look into that to see to it that they work with University of the Gambia so that there could be courses and programs that will be in relation to forests. Honorable Speaker, going down to recommendation 4, adequate resources. We all know that always resources used to be the problem. And definitely forest is very important to us. We all see how rainfall is coming. And it of course has a relationship to our forests. They make a recommendation of purchasing some wildlife animals like lion, giraffe, and elephant. But I will also ask them to make recommendation for the purchase of some other local trees. Because if you go to our bushes now, you see a lot of our local trees are also going. The timbins and the nettles and the other things, they are all going. And I think they should also recommend for it to be purchased so that they can be preserved and be in our forest. Local policing is very important, and also local committees. You know, in our villages and our towns, there should be established local committees.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Tumanna. I now invite the Honorable Member for Lower Badibu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I will also join my colleagues in thanking the committee responsible of this particular report. Honorable Speaker, I'll go straight to the point, especially the area around my especially around my area. I have, of course, I have reservation on the report, particularly in Lower Badibu and Badibu in general. Badibu is facing a lot of threat in terms of deforestation. Honorable Speaker, the French nationals that are coming from France via Senegal and to the Gambia are conducting bird hunting and animal hunting as well in our area. They are causing a great deal of threat to the population of both birds and animals in our area. And yet still, there are a group of patrolists or herders that are coming from Senegal during the dry season. These people are tampering with our environment. Some of the destruction that we are facing at that area is not only natural, it's man-made, and it is not caused by our people. These are caused by patrolists who are coming from Senegal, and they are called in local language as Walankins, is it? Walankins, exactly. And these people are not Gambians. I received a report from our chief in the area. He said these people are, of course, tampering with the environment as well as not only the environment, even the women gardeners. They pose great deal of threat to their vegetable growing. Honorable Speaker, I believe maybe this must be the committee responsible for this report may not have, of course, preview to the activities of course, these others in our area. But these others are causing a lot of destruction to the environment in this area. And I want the committee to look into the activities of these others in our area. And our people are saying next year they will not be welcome. So the Environment Committee, this is the information I have for you. These people are not welcome in our area because they are not doing any good. Instead, they are harming us directly. Honorable Speaker, on that note, I will rest my case here. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Lower Badibu. And finally, I now invite the Honorable nominated member, Keba Lamfufuna.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank the committee for a brilliant report, and for the records, I'm part of the committee as well. Honorable Speaker, I started work as a forester. This is where my career began. And going round on the tour, more so reading through the report and seeing the challenges that are coming from CRR, brings to mind one thing, that if you look at the messaging from the Directorate of Forestry, it always banks on long-term benefits. That's the strategic management of forestry for life, for the resources, and its sustainable management. But if you look at the immediate need of people, they are on short-term benefits, and this is where the conflict lies. That is why, if we must digest this report as an assembly, I will make referral to page 16 under the recommendations. Number 1, where it states that there should be stronger emphasis on community and joint participatory forest management. Private investors should also be strongly encouraged to invest in private forestry. Honorable Speaker, all the strategies that the Department of Forestry is trying to employ is to ensure that there is joint management. They want the people to have the sense of ownership that the forest belongs to them. The Department of Forestry cannot police the forest by its own. For example, I was in Sare Sufi. I had 70 communities under my catchment as an implementation area head with a motorbike. The total land area was more than 100 hectares. 24 hours, how do you expect me to police that? And the role of a forest guard in trainee is not to be a policeman. It's to give technical advice as to why the villagers should safeguard the forest. But presently, the bigger challenge of the forestry department is they do not have technical support with regards to the relevant advice they need to have, and they do not also have technical support with regards to the financing. When we were there, there was a German-sponsored project sponsored by GTZ and KFW. It used to be GGFP. By then, all the forest parks in CRR, both in the north and south, were fenced. There was no illegal encroachment. Illegal felling was reduced to the bare minimum. We used to do controlled early burning to minimize the risks and prevalence of what? Bushfires. Today, those are the norms of the day. So I'll encourage this House not only to devote more funds to the forestry department, but as representatives of the people, when we go back to our constituencies, let us pass this message that the forest belongs to the people. And it is not the responsibility of the department to police it. The responsibility of the department is on advocacy basis, so that the people can take the sense of what? Ownership. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominated Member Keba Lang Fufana. Honorable members, may I now call upon Speaker, the mover. Who is shouting?
Sajal.
Yes, Observer Sajal.
I raised my tag twice, but I have not been called.
Yes, Honorable, we have to cut it. The time is, we have exceeded the time.
But please give me the chance to...
No, that's concluded, Honorable, please. Please. Honorable members, may I now call upon the mover of the motion to respond to the issues raised and to wind up the debate.
Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable members, for your valid contribution. As you were debating, I was taking note. And then I want to start with member for Badibu, Central Badibu. He made mention on the solution to the challenges on the forestry. You know, yes, we agree that whatever problem that exists, there has to be a solution. So that's why the committee thinks that the progressive solutions such as purchase of drones to monitor our forest cover, you know, to know exactly what is happening in those areas is very essential. Because as my colleague has said, if you look at the land area that is being covered by forest and the limited staff and personnel in the forest area, you know, you come to realize that it is very difficult to be able to monitor in the absence of modern technology. That's why we propose and recommend for the purchase of drones to be able to monitor. He also made mention on the provision of wild animals. You know, it is important to note that the provision of more working tools and equipment, such as I said, you know, as well as trained rangers. We have parks, you know, and also to provide sanctuary to these animals. Jara Central also, yes, he agrees that the foresters and rangers needs to be trained, which we already recommended, you know, and that is why we recommended that for the UTG to introduce undergraduate and graduate programs at the university in the area of forestry, wildlife management, and also water resources. You know, so that the staff there can attain or they can have bachelor degrees or even master's degrees. Janjam Burey, yes, on the visit to Kafuta, we did not visit Kafuta. You are right, we did not visit Kafuta. We want to know that, you know, when it comes to forestry and water resources, you know, we combine two departments, that is forestry, wildlife, and water resources. You know, trying to visit all these areas, and the time and the dates allocated to the committee, we could not visit all these areas. because I think, if I'm not forgetting, we are allocated only 5 to 6 days to do the entire country. So we selected only few and visit those areas. That's why we could not visit Kafuta. But it is important to note that we were accompanied by a senior official. Yeah, we were accompanied by a senior official from the forestry, and he categorically tell us that the training center at Kafuta, they do not offer, or they do not provide degree level. All their training programs are either done in Tanzania or any other country. We all know how expensive that could be. That's why we came up with this idea to be able to, University of the Gambia, to be able to introduce these courses. And we do not only stop there. We invited University of the Gambia and all the relevant stakeholders that are involved. The good news is already all the modules and everything that is needed is being developed. So we are only waiting for the implementation. Nyamina Dankunku. Yes, the committee, you are right. The committee agrees that all the efforts has to be done, to be made to protect forests. That is why we recommend for participatory and community forestry management. Example, look at Batihai, what they did. I think Batihai is in North Bank. This community, they are doing an amazing job when it comes to the forest management. So we want to encourage all communities, even Nassau Assembly members, because environment and forestry is everyone's business, to take part in the fight against forest degradation. Woolly East. Yeah, you are right. We agree that we look at the sectorial next time, because as I said, we could not visit everywhere, and that's why some of these things are being omitted. Did I look at Brikama North? I did not. Okay. It is important to know that the Parks and Wildlife has cross-cuttings and similarity in its challenges. Now, the reason why we did not, the format of the report is in this form, not in the form that you were expected, is because all the challenges, if you go through the report, you will see all the sectors, the forestry, wildlife, water, fisheries and water resources. Their challenges are almost the same. So that's why we try to bring them all under one this thing, so that we don't waste the time of the National Assembly. Sanementereng, there are many forests that we could not visit here. Yeah, we could not visit because you made mention of not visiting Sallaji. As I said, we could not visit all the forests. If you go to some regions, you will have 2 or 3 forests, but we were only able to visit only one out of those. So Sanementereng, unfortunately, Sallaji, unfortunately, was not part of the forest that we are selected for us to visit. And that's why it is not captured. So you also made mention of creation of restaurants and other amenities in the forest, so that this can generate more resources or revenue to the government and for the development of the sector. Yes, we agree. These are things that we believe, can be explored in the future. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I think I've captured most of the speakers. Tumanna, you want to observe?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I think I just want to draw your attention to what the Honorable Member for Lower Badibu was saying, because I think this is a very big concern to us, the people of North Bank. He made mention of some of these herders who are coming there from our neighboring country, involved in some dubious activities by cutting down some of these branches of our trees, using it to feed their animals. It's a very big problem in North Bank, and we are very much concerned. I just wanted to draw your attention to that.
Yeah, you are right. Thank you so much, Honorable, for reminding me. I know, yes, I know that must have escaped my mind. In fact, during our tour, that came up. We even saw some of them in the farmlands. You know, it is a concern. These herders that comes from either Senegal or any other country, they don't only feed their animals on the grass, but they also cut the branches of the trees, resulting to their death. So this is something that we highly recommend for is to either stop, or we don't know if there is an agreement between the Gambia and the Senegal in regards to that. But we want to explore that, we want to investigate that and see how best we can come up with proper solutions to this effect. Yeah, I skipped Honorable Member for Eliasa, my son here. He talked about the random killing of birds at this hunting camp. As the reporter has stated, this hunting camp is a private-owned hotel or private-owned entity. But if you look at the birds that they kill, according to our engagements with them, the proprietor made mention of, yes, it is true they were given license to hunt birds
Honorable, you need to summarize.
Yes, this is the last
one. You answer one question several times for every member.
Yes. So these are birds that they term as, they are threat to the farmers, and they are termed as pets. So that's why they were given the license to be able to kill them, to prevent them from, destroying our farmlands. Member for Tumanna, that is more of commendation. So we thank you for that, the introduction of the courses at the University of the Gambia. Yeah, for the suggestion, because it's already recommended in the report. So on that note, Honorable Speaker, I want to seize this opportunity to thank you once again, the Office of the Clerk, and members that took their time to go on the tour, and also members that took their time to look at the report and then, give their recommendation. So on that note, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman, for ably responding to issues and winding up the debate. Let me equally thank all honorable members who have contributed and those who never had the time to contribute. May I now put the question, honorable members, that be it resolved that this honorable assembly do adopt the report of the National Assembly Select Committee on the Environment and Sustainable Development and NGO Affairs oversight visit to forests, parks, and borehole projects across the country in February 2024. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Clerk, may we proceed?
Motion. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do consider and approve the appointment and approve the proposed remuneration package of Commissioners of the Access to Information Commission by the Honorable Minister for Information.
Thank you very much. May I now invite the Honorable Minister of Information to table his motion. Okay.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the motion for the confirmation of the appointment of the Information Commissioners by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, in line with the provisions established under Section 42, subsection 1 and Section 42, subsection 2 of the Access to Information Act 2021. Furthermore, I hereby solicit the indulgence of the August Assembly to approve a remuneration package for the Information Commission that commensurate to salaries, skills obtainable in existing commissions of equivalent prominence, such as National Human Rights Commission and the State-Owned Enterprises Commission. The composition of the Nominations Committee. Honorable Speaker, the Access to Information Act 2021 requires the constitution of a committee embodying the Ministries of Information, Interior, and Justice to provide or to preside over the nomination of information commissioners. However, to sustain the spirit of the unprecedented collaboration between government agencies and critical partners that transcends conceptualizations, drafting, and the enactment stages of the ATI bill, the Ministry deemed it necessary to co-opt 3 prominent civil society organizations as members of the nomination committee for the purpose of inclusivity and transparency in the nomination process. I am pleased to inform that my ministry constituted a key stakeholder consultative forum, or the KSCF, in September 2023 through a well-popularized concept note that brought together relevant institutions under a unified framework that seeks to strengthen the efficacy of participatory democracy and inclusivity in decision-making. The KSCF is a mechanism premised on the principles of inclusivity, consultation, and the right to be heard in matters relating to resolutions of industry-specific challenges and other contentious issues hovering around public discourse. The KSCF is comprised of 3 government ministries: the Ministry of Information, the Ministry of Justice, and the Ministry of Interior, and 3 prominent CSO representatives: Tango, GPU, and the Coalition on Access to Information. The selection criteria of the commissioners. The forum, that is co-chaired by CSOs and government agencies, presided over the development of benchmarks for the purpose of establishing the following core yardsticks for the nomination of the commissioners. Yardstick A, requirements of the ATI Act 2021. Yardstick B, gender. Yardstick C, age. Yardstick D, profession. Yardstick E, region. Yardstick F, ethnicity, and yardstick G, experience. Honorable Speaker, the forum presided over the identification and nomination of prominent Gambian personalities through a brainstorming exercise. The results of the identification process were further subjected to a meticulous filtration process that culminated in the generation of the primary list of preferred candidates and a secondary list that serves as a fallback option in case of any unforeseen challenges. Finally, the key stakeholder consultative forum submitted the primary and secondary nominee list to the Honorable Minister of Information for approval and onward transmission to the Office of the President for the appointment. Without any objections, the Ministry forwarded the nominee list to the Office of the President for appointment in consultation with the Public Service Commission in consonance with the relevant provisions of the Access to Information Act 2021. Appointment of Information Commissioners. In view of the aforementioned and as per the dictates of the ATI Act 2021, the following appointments have been rendered by the President in consultation with the Public Service Commission, subject to the confirmation by this August Assembly. Number 1, Nene McDowell Gay as the Chairperson of the Commission, John Charles Njai as the Vice Chairperson of the Commission, Babukar Cham as a member, Bai Emil Toure as a member, and Ya Amit Toure as a member. The profiles and CVs of the commissioners are attached. In consonance with Section 42, subsection 3 of the ATI Act 2021, the chairperson of the commission is appointed on a 5-year term, while the remaining commissioners are appointed on a 4-year term of office. The National Assembly confirmation. The confirmation of the appointment of the National Assembly is a binding constraint imposed by the ATI Act 2021. It seeks to reinforce the independence of the Commission and assures security of tenure for the commissioners in the execution of the Commission's mandate. Prayers. Honorable Speaker, in view of the evidences that project high-level inclusivity, consultations, and participation of diverse constituents in the identification, nomination, and appointment of these distinguished Gambian personalities, I hereby respectfully solicit for an unconditional confirmation of the appointment of the aforementioned commissioners and approval of an appropriate remuneration package that is benchmarked to the National Human Rights Commission or the State-Owned Enterprises Commission. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Information. Honorable members, any seconder? Honorable Member for Olu-Windum.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the importance of having ATI, the access to information, I think we have gone past that because we've debated on the issue of ATI and then this National Assembly. Okay, first of all, Honorable Speaker, I stand to second the motion and of course wanted to also take part in the debate. Like I was saying, the access to information bill was passed in this National Assembly. It took us time to do the approval, but finally we have an act, and now the minister and the Office of the President are now doing the appointment, and of course the confirmation by the National Assembly is needed. Honorable Speaker, one of the things I captured on the nomination list, and I must say it, and that is not because I am biased, but because I also want to see my people on some of the appointments. At least I've seen two prominent, citizens of the Gambia who are also part of the commissioners and are part of from my constituency. And I appreciate that, but the fact that, people from my constituency also deserve to be part of all these appointments. And I'm supporting the nominated list. As part of that, of course, I wouldn't shy away from that. I think the nominated list that we have, the confirmation on the personalities of the individuals that have been nominated is what we will be looking at. Are they qualified? Are they okay with the Access to Information Act? These are some of the things that we were looking at. From my own perspective, as a representative, I don't know all these personalities, all these nominated members in person, but I have the conviction that they will do justice to the act if the National Assembly confirm them. Because one of them I have followed for so many years, working as a journalist in the Gambia, in the name of Babukar Cham. He is a person of, a distinguished personality who has served this country in different capacities. I understand. And of course, at his own level as a journalist. So for the National Assembly to confirm the nomination of this list, I think is essential. We may not be able to have all Gambians being nominated to form part of the commission, but the list that we have here, I have no doubt in my mind that
all right. Honorable Member, just round up in 30 seconds.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just wanted to say it loud and clear that I am in support of the nominated members to form part of this commission. And I am confirming them as a representative. Thank you.
Motion.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Ul Yundum, for seconding the motion. Honorable members, may I now put the question? It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the confirmation and appointment and approve the proposed remuneration package of commissioners of the Access to Information Commission. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Now the floor is open for honorable members.
Chair, Honorable Speaker, motion. Pardon? Motion. I want to move the motion.
Member for, is it Woolly East? Yes, honorable member.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to move a motion on the 53E that we commit this to the Committee of Appointment to really scrutinize it for us quickly and then report back to us so that we can make informed decision. Because that has been the precedence that we set here.
Have you moved the motion?
I move that we commit this to the Committee of Appointment without debate for them to scrutinize and come back to us.
Honorable members, any seconder to the motion? Honorable nominated member Maimuna Sise.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion.
Honorable members, it has been moved and seconded that the said motion be referred to the committee. So, honorable members, it has been moved and seconded that the said, somebody is talking. Yeah, it has been moved and seconded that we refer the said motion to the ABC committee for further reference to for the necessary committee. I'm hearing a lot of noise. Can you just stand up to say what you want to say?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. What we are saying is the plenary is now referring, this is not a bill now, it's a motion, direct referral to the appointments committee for them to look at it, and also the assembly to grant them leave for them to sit within the session, and for the parliament to give them leave to sit within the session so they can report back to assembly.
Let's take the first motion which has been seconded. It has been moved and seconded that the proposed motion be referred to the Public Appointments Committee. Am I right, honorable member? Yes. Honorable members, those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. So the motion is now referred to the State Committee.
Yes, motion.
Now, honorable member for Kantora.
Leave to sit within the session to peruse and then report back to assembly. Thank you.
Proposed that the assembly grants them. Yes, it is proposed. It is proposed that the assembly grants them leave to proceed on their business during sessions. Any seconder? Huh? Woolly East. On Woolly East?
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second that motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, it has been moved. May I?
His motion is not clear. But when he means session, we want to know this session, or today, tomorrow, or the entire session. Be very clear.
Okay, Honorable Speaker, with your permission, I beg to move.
Honorable, I think it's clear to most members.
Let me
He is saying that we allow the committee to be working even when we are in session so that they can finish and bring it back to us. Which other session is it going to be? Now, it has been moved and seconded that that be granted to the committee, the Public Appointment Committee. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, as we have now decided to refer the state motion to the relevant committee for consideration and report back to Parliament, that brings us to the end of today's agenda. Let me once again thank all of you for your insightful contributions, and also thank the Honorable Minister for Information for ably tabling your motion. Honorable members, with that I now put the question. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned until Tuesday, 9th July 2024. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. This assembly now stands adjourned until Tuesday, 9th July 2024 at 10 a.m. prompt.